say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Powerful words from our national anthem. They speak to our American identity and are woven into our national flag. Timeless words written by one man, Francis Scott Key, about one flag at one moment. September 14th, 1814, here at Fort McHenry. In 1812, the storm clouds of war had gathered over a young United States as the nation pitted itself once more against the might of the British Empire. For 2 years, the conflict wore on, from the British colonies of Canada to America's southern coast and out across the high seas. To draw off U.S. forces from Canada and damage America's economy and morale, the British Navy attacked and blockaded the nation's east coast heartland. Up and down the Chesapeake Bay they raided, destroying towns and farms and spreading fear. Then, in August 1814, disaster. The invading British seized Washington, D.C. and burned the nation's capital. A citizen soldier of Baltimore spoke for many.
Every American heart is bursting with shame and indignation at the catastrophe.
And Baltimore hearts were also full of anxiety, for they feared they would be next.
Citizens of Baltimore, take heed! The British fleet approaches! Admiral Colbert has declared that he will burn this nest of pirates! If you can, flee the city, take their valuables!
As Baltimore braced itself, a young Maryland lawyer, Francis Scott Key, embarked on a diplomatic mission to free a prisoner of war, sailing right into the heart of the approaching British fleet. But with their attack on Baltimore imminent, the British detained Key amidst their massing warships. On the outskirts of Baltimore, citizens, men and women, militia, and regular troops desperately prepared defenses. They dug almost a mile of earth entrenching and waited with bated breath. On September 12th, British soldiers landed at North Point, where a bloody battle with Maryland militia failed to halt their march towards Baltimore. However, the British could not tackle the city's earthwork defenses and troop reinforcements without their navy's help. The next day, the British bomb ships would open up their main assault with a ferocious bombardment. Their target, Fort McHenry. They had to knock out the fort to bring their ships in range of the city. The fate of Baltimore now lay in the hands of the fort's defenders. Soldiers frantically prepared for battle, knowing they were the last defense to thwart the British. With the enemy in their sights, the men awaited the inevitable, a bombardment from the world's most formidable navy. The attack began. The British fleet pounded the fort with rockets and mortar shells. But still, the British bombs and rockets thundered over the fort, exploding deadly shrapnel in all directions. The fort's defenders were, in the words of one citizen soldier, like pigeons tied by their legs to be shot at. The American artillery answered the British with desperate return fire. Would it be enough? Baltimore's citizens watched in panic through the night. One recalled,
The attack on Fort McHenry was distinctly seen from Federal Hill and from the tops of houses which were covered with men, women, and children.
September 14th, the British guns finally fell silent. A huge flag was raised above the fort, but whose? Through the long night, Francis Scott Key had been forced to watch the bombardment from among the enemy fleet.
Not at all.
Nothing.
Now, he strained to see the flag in the dawn's early light.
It's ours, Mr. Skinner. Say, we won. It's ours.
Inspired by their courage, Key wrote down a few lines. "'Tis the star-spangled banner, oh long may it wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave." As the British withdrew, Key returned to Baltimore, where his words soon found music and a publisher, and the Star-Spangled Banner was born. It captured a defiant, patriotic spirit and spread rapidly across the nation, pouring new life into the national flag as a symbol of American identity. The popularity of the song and the flag grew during the years that followed. The Star-Spangled Banner eventually became the official anthem of the United States in 1931. Inspired by the brave defense of Fort McHenry, Francis Scott Key's words and the flag they so memorably portray are now woven into our sense of national identity. These words still resonate as loudly today as the glaring rockets and bursting bombs of 1814.
Awesome. Hey.
Welcome in. First time?
Thank you. Yes.
Awesome. Anywhere you see an open door is an opportunity to learn. Let us know if you have any questions. We'll help you.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
At the upper end of the narrow passageway in which two other cells opened. There was a grated iron door which was closed all day, and there was a solid wooden door which was closed when the flag fell in the evening. So then they put a wooden door over the top of that. Oh my God, it must have been stifling in here.
Jeez.
I was allowed a mattress which I placed on the damp floor at night and stood up at the end against the wall during the day. I was not allowed a knife or a fork. My food was being cut up outside and pushed through the grated door while I held a tin plate to catch it. I do not remember the plate was washed during the entire time of my imprisonment in the cell. There was no convenience for bathing, nor did I take a bath during the entire time of my confinement at the fort. The sanitary arrangements consisted of half barrel, which was emptied in the morning when the cell was cleaned. So they cut a half. This is what he was allowed to use the bathroom in.
Nicholas Larcher, fire duty, U.S. Coast Guard. Served at the U.S. Coast Guard station at Fort McHenry from 1943 to 1944. My time at Fort McHenry began in the winter of 1943, when I enlisted as an apprentice seaman, for which I was paid $21 a month. What I remember most about my time at Fort McHenry was how peaceful and beautiful a setting it was. I'd look out over the harbor, and it seemed like the war didn't even exist. But of course, it was very much alive. I joined the U.S. Coast Guard because I wanted to serve my country, and because I always looked at them as doing something important. A typical day started with reveille, breakfast call, and then we'd jump on the trucks which took us to the piers where we stood guard duty. Men not on guard duty manned fireboats, cleaned buildings, or were mess cooks. While at Fort McHenry, I was privileged to attend firefighting school where I learned advanced methods in fire prevention. After my training, I was stationed on fire beat in Baltimore Harbor. Fire was always a threat, so this training was critical. Many Navy and Coast Guardsmen of all ranks went through a very good firefighting and damage control school at the fort. I'm sure many of these men helped save their ship with the schooling they had learned at Fort McHenry. In 1944, I was transferred from the fort to the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Apache, an icebreaker tug which was stationed at Pier 4 on Pratt Street in Baltimore. We did custom inspection work, checked buoys, and broke ice in water. On the anniversary of Francis Scott Key's writing of the Star-Spangled Banner, we mock attacked the fort with flare guns, and they fired back.